Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're talking about this past week's Smackdown.
Such as it was.
Such as it was is exactly right.
Hey, are we doing the new thing this week, though? We're doing the new thing this week, right?
Oh, crap. What new thing? I'm not prepared for what new thing?
Well, the thing we talked about what we're doing Fridays now.
Oh, are we going to do Friday Night Smackdown?
Yeah, we can do it right after the Friday Night Smackdown, do the recap. So at least if it's boring, people don't have to wait the whole weekend to hear us talk about how boring it was. We could do it right after the fact.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. This coming Friday night, we're going to be talking about the go-home Smackdown to Summerslam. And then, hey, if we feel all right about it, we'll do it after that and after that. I do think, though, like this is probably going to have been, I hope, the last mid Smackdown, because surely Roman Reigns is going to come back at SummerSlam, or something big is going to happen.
He's going to come back and then be on Raw, because that's where Jay is.
He's like, oh man, this would be great. I like Raw. Raw's a lot of fun. It's where Judgment Day is. It's where Liv Morgan is. Oh man, I want to get a little piece of that. Somebody in my WrestleJuice comment, because I did a little ranty video about, Roman Reigns coming back over at WrestleJuice, and somebody in the comments said, and I don't know what like context this was, but he says, I fully expect Roman to come back with Rikishi's gimmick. And I'm like, wait a second. Like the Too Cool stuff? That would be amazing. Could you imagine? Cody's
out there popping and locking. Yeah.
Yeah. Cody's getting beat down, and all of a sudden the lights go down. Everybody's like, we want Roman. And then you hear that like crazy Too Cool music pop on. And he's sitting there like this.
Bobbing his head a little bit.
Yeah. He's got Jimmy and Jay next to him doing the fucking Too Cool shit. That would be amazing.
That'd be pretty funny. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
So we're going to talk about SmackDown, the return of Roman Reigns, and the possibility the Bloodline might be sniffing their first opportunity at gold, Larson.
Bad Bloodline. Bad
Bloodline.
Specify. We're not talking about Solo beating Cody. That's not going to happen. That ain't going to happen, brother.
Probably right. You're probably right.
Before that, we got some news. Let's talk about this first. I know it's not in the thumbnail, but I feel like this could be a fun, interesting conversation. Nothing else will get us some watch time if people are curious about the news in the thumbnail, the title.
Oh, goodness. Manipulating our good audience, Larson.
So we're...
I'll do what do you call it? The chapter breaks here. I'll do that.
There we go. We're admittedly more than halfway through the year, but that's not to say we can't do kind of still a half-year review. We did that somewhat when we kind of reviewed our predictions for 2024 Friendo Club Wrestling. Go check it out. YouTube.com/Friendo Club Wrestling, yes?
I think so, yeah.
Sure, that's what it is. So, I saw this on the social medias over the weekend. It's an interesting conversation to have. Apparently, Meltzer was talking on Wrestling Observer Radio about kind of his MVP or Wrestler of the Year at the halfway point.
MVP, yeah, the Bloodsport guy.
That's another bit of news, potentially, Steve. We're talking about most valuable performer.
Oh, my bad.
Yes. So these transcripts from this statement or comment here from Meltzer from Wrestle Talks, what Dave had to say, quote, seriously, when I was thinking about Wrestler of the Year last week, I was coming up with names. It may sound like he was just making up names for potential Wrestler of the Year, huh?
Some kayfabe corner stuff.
And Drew's not going to win Wrestler of the Year. Well, maybe he will if he goes and wins the title. He did win a title this year, Dave, and has a great 6 months. I suppose he could. But the thing is, when I was thinking, what about Drew McIntyre? Great promos, a lot of really good to great matches, just carrying a feud with a guy who's injured for 6 months and carrying that feud for 6 months and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And realistically, you could argue it's the biggest match of SummerSlam. I would say if you're asking me what's the biggest match, I think that's the one. Granted, Punk's got that unique charisma and everything like that. He's been gone for 6 months, which all helps. But still, if you got 2 world titles, if you got Rhea Ripley Dom thing, Punk has been good in this program, but Drew McIntyre has completely carried it. If you're looking at a guy carrying a program, he's done that better than anybody in wrestling this year, if you really think about it. I don't disagree with Dave here. I think, in fact, you got to put Drew McIntyre in contention to be MVP of pro wrestling, most valuable performer of pro wrestling in the year 2024.
Is that going to be the category that we go with?
I think that'd be more interesting than Wrestler of the Year, per se.
I agree.
I think a wrestler who is, if you look at the context of, you have this feud that many consider the feud of the year contender. best feud going on. Again, this is I think some have made this point. Best
I know
feud
I
going
have.
on at WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Drew McIntyre is more or less, like held things down on Raw for the most part while Punk's been gone, carrying this feud for good chunks of it, and building up to what is arguably the largest, most prominent, most high profile, most anticipated match on the entire SummerSlam card. You got to give Drew a lot of credit for that. And, you could say he is the most valuable performer, at least in WWE, if not all of pro wrestling. We could think of other names. Maybe Will Ospreay's up there. But I think so much of that is because, when he's in the ring, he's put on the best match of the night.
Yeah.
And not to diminish anything he's doing from a character perspective, because since he's been to AEW, I think he's blown a lot of us away with how quickly he adapted what he was doing to the American approach to televised pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And he established his character quickly and effectively and formed a basically instant connection with the crowd.
Yeah.
But who else?
Dude, I think you nailed it. I think there's there's like 2 or 3 people that I can really think of. Like you
got to put Swerve in that conversation. You got to put Swerve in there.
You could put Swerve in that conversation. I do think that Ospreay came in and kind of stole everybody's thunder and immediately started just having those, just absolutely killer matches. And he seems to be like a real team player. And that right there is kind of the thing. Like when it's you and I, the approach that we prefer with pro wrestling is very story heavy, right? Which means a feud of the year can go down without a match between the two guys in the feud for months before you get there. We haven't even gotten there yet. We're getting there this weekend.
6 months to be in fact, yes.
Right. And so when you look at why Drew would be, I know my pick, it's the selflessness. And Ospreay can be commended for this as well, losing to Swerve.
Cool Bro here mentions Seth Rollins as well. If you're talking selflessness, you got to put Seth Rollins high on that list too.
Absolutely. But but here's the thing about Seth. Seth went down like a hero, right? Like he broke his ass since he won that title, being the workman title, right? The work rate guy, the workman title, whatever you want to call it.
Workhorse.
Thank you. That's the one title. Yeah, that's the one thing I was actually looking for. And he walks into WrestleMania, and from a storyline perspective, bends over backwards to basically help Cody Rhodes, right? Who he's supposed to kind of hate. But we all understand the motivation. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then he goes out there. He has that phenomenal night one match on a busted knee. And then he shows up the next night and is basically the reason why we got the Cody era now, because Seth sacrificed himself knowing that he gets in full Shield gear, kicks in on that Mox music, the Dean Ambrose music, and he shows up, the old Shield music, and he shows up, and Roman can't help but attack Seth Rollins, leading to his downfall. Great story stuff, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But it's very much a hero's way to go down.
Oh, sure, but I don't think that precludes Seth from being in conversation.
No. But what I'm saying with Drew McIntyre is, from a performer standpoint, I don't know that he could have been convinced by, like, for example, Vince McMahon, that this is going to be good for you. That being humiliated time and time again, holding the championship for moments before you get cashed in on because your character cannot help himself, buying fully into that, a character whose weaknesses are as strong as his strengths. And all the good and a lot of bad that comes with it for that character. And seeing just how much money there is in the selflessness, in understanding that, hey, as a character, I don't need to get over every single time, brother, and having faith in the story itself, in the saga, Larson, having faith in that and seeing where it takes you. That absolutely, to me, clears him way ahead. And that's something Ospreay's learned. Ospreay lost to Swerve. Ospreay lost to MJF, that title, because he's going to get it back at All In. But with Drew McIntyre, I don't even know what the end game is. I don't know that the title is the end game.
I don't know what it is.
But for him, it seems to be. And the fact that he re-signed with the company shows he's got faith in what they're doing with him. And that he's bought into this. I don't know what the end game is, but if you're talking about who in a most high profile way has really bought into that character so much so that he's allowed that character to be to properly be exposed in a story is awesome stuff. And that's why he'd totally get my vote probably.
It's talked about Drew McIntyre. He's feuding with CM Punk heading to SummerSlam. CM Punk's finally cleared to return. Gonna have a match against Drew this Saturday. And during an appearance at Comic-Con this weekend, CM Punk talked to Denise Salcedo about whether there was a moment where the kind of light bulb went off for him. He realized he wanted or needed to get back to WWE. This is what Punk had to say. These transcripts come to you from Fightful. Quote, "No, because it was never a thing that I was yearning to do. There were a lot of things that had to happen for the pathway to kind of clear. The stars had to align. There had to be a full moon. A lot of dominoes fell in order for us to get here. There was never a, man, I really like to be back. Vince being out of the picture probably illuminated the way. That might have been one of the biggest things. That's both ways for everybody who was going to sensationalize a headline. It wasn't me. It wasn't him. There was just a lot of history there. All of a sudden, one of us is removed from the equation. I think it changed a lot of things."
Quick aside here. That first sentence that you read, no, because it was never a thing that I was yearning to do. I noticed you looked right. I noticed you looked right into the camera with a certain look, a certain look of.
Well, just because he's talked about it, I think, where like there was talk about him coming back when he was doing backstage. So come on, man. Come on.
You can't help yourself. You can't get through one line of Punk dialogue without bearing the real world champion, Larson.
Well, I mean, when he's trying to pull one on everybody. Come on now. Come on.
Larson, you can't get through one sentence, buddy. Come on, we gotta work on this, man. We gotta get you some help or something. Cause you got this punk derangement syndrome going on right now.
I got no issue with Punk, but if he's trying to pull a fast one, I'm not gonna just sit there and be like, yeah, Punk, man, it was wow. He never once thought about coming back to the Fit.
I love it.
Ever since that day he walked out in January 2014. Get out of here with that. Come on. Anyways.
So the one thing that I would take issue with is he says Vince McMahon being out of the picture probably illuminated the way.
I mean, Vince wasn't completely out of the picture.
He wasn't actually out of the picture.
Punk was talking about how he ran into Vince at the gym at the WWE headquarters.
Yeah, right.
After he came back.
Yeah.
So he wasn't completely out of the way. I guess the idea is that Vince wasn't in control of day-to-day creative.
Giving Punk, of course, like I do, the benefit of the doubt because he is the AEW. It's been now over a year. It's been a year and a day.
You are aware he was fired from AEW, and so he's in most likelihood stripped of that title. I mean, you have the title right there.
Most likelihood. No, that would never happen on television. The real World's Championship.
Man, they really should get given that title to Jack Perry. That'd have been incredible.
I know. That would have been a good one. That'd have been a really good one. But yeah, I giving Phil the full benefit of the doubt, like I do. Saying that Vince being sort of out of the picture. I would imagine there's a big difference between Vince being there at Gorilla every single day, kind of crap.
Yeah.
And then him texting Bruce Pritchard to go bug Triple H, probably a much different thing. So
yes.
I take him at his word there, of course.
Yes. Agreed. We can agree on that.
Okay. Absolutely. We'll work
on
the Punk derangement syndrome there.
There's no, I mean, come on, man. Come on. Mm-hmm. Come on. I know you like to give me a hard time, but I'm not telling any lies there.
It's all just in good fun, man.
Exactly.
You made me laugh on a Monday. I tell you what.
So Punk also spoke with Ringside Collectibles recently. I'm sure it was probably, I didn't check, but I'm guessing it was over Comic-Con weekend because he did the panel where he had his new action figures.
Did you see and he made a little Vince reference there because the figure is directly.
It's the Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, and you can even make the kiss face with the blowing the kiss thing. His hand is like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, look at this. You can even blow a kiss at he who shall not be named, is what Punk said. It was funny.
So he did an interview with Ringside Collectibles, talked about how the current kind of creative atmosphere in the WWE locker room is like, or how he appreciates it. And it was within the context of a question regarding forming a new faction. It's kind of reminiscing about the Straight Edge Society days. These transcripts come to you from Post Wrestling. Quote, I'm not going to say no to if I'll lead another faction or not, because you never say never. I don't see it happening in the foreseeable future, but you never know what's going to happen. That's the cool thing about where we're at as a company right now. Creatively speaking, this is the most fruitful creative locker room that I think I've ever been in, where ideas aren't ignored and shot down and people are eager to share ideas. So somebody someday could have a brilliant idea, something I have blinders on and can't see, and I would be receptive to any of the ideas as long as they're good.
All right, man, let's pitch some ideas, because you and I, especially you, man, I like some of your fantasy book ideas. You need to pitch Punk your faction idea for him.
My faction idea.
Yeah, exactly. Give Punk a faction. Who would be in his faction? What's the genesis? What is the story idea here?
Put me on the spot. I wasn't.
How about this? I'll kick one off.
Sometimes it's better to bounce off than
the official movie of Going in Raw is Wrath of Khan, right?
Of course, yeah.
A figure from Punk's past comes back to vow revenge, and will do so.
Luke Gallows.
Luke. Yes, yeah, the guy who is in the Straight Edge Society.
Yes,
returns with his own pack of, and now they understand why Straight Edge.
Now he's with Carl Anderson.
Now he's with Carl Anderson. And they understand why Straight Edge is a terrible way to live, because beer is awesome. And they bring in a couple of guys who appreciate beer and making money, beer money. So you got Gallows, Anderson, Rude, and Storm.
There we go.
And they all take on CM Punk. And he's like, yeah, no. I don't know. That's all I got. It's pretty lame.
So you want Punk to reform like a new straight edge society.
A straighter edge society.
All right.
The straighter edgest. Yeah. And he brings along Adam Copeland, because who's more edge than Edge himself? Yeah. No, that's a terrible idea. That's one of the terrible ideas he's thinking of. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it'd be. I don't know what it'd be.
NWO.
Are you really gonna take Punk booking from me, Steve?
Well, sometimes, yeah, because you've got strong feelings. The Punk derangement syndrome, very strong. The DNS.
Feelings. I don't have strong
PNS.
feelings.
No, PDS.
Yeah.
PDS. That's what it is.
I don't have strong feelings. That's the thing.
Super strong.
Not strong.
You hate Punk as much as you love Gunta.
It's not correct.
So yeah. Cool Bro says the Straight Edging Society.
Oh my goodness.
You can't say those things, man. You can't say those things. We got a couple new Friendo Club members here, Larson. Call Me Aries, and by the way, we got the SummerSlam Predictions Challenge happening.
It's coming up this week.
Weekend.
That's right.
I forget exactly how we're doing this. Is it going to be SummerSlam and
No, we should do SummerSlam its own thing, because the last pay-per-view you did was Money in the Bank, and that was about a month ago.
Just load this sumbitch up with props.
And then the end of the month, we got All In, and then the following weekend is Bash in Berlin. The following weekend is All Out. So we can do like a super thing.
Super duper, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Heather M has been a member for 5 months now, says, I'll put my ones up for this. She says, put your ones up for the Glizzy Gang. There you go. Good stuff. Anyways, Larson, before we continue on with the rest of the show, let's go ahead and pay some bills. What do you say?
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Steve, there's a saying when it comes to lifting weights and working out. Never skip leg day. Have you heard that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I've heard
that. It's one that I follow. How about you?
No.
Well,
no. I skipped that yeah. I'm like, why would I do that when I can work on my arms again?
You should work out your legs too. And I make that a priority these days to get my leg workouts in every week. I haven't always been as diligent about taking care of myself and establishing my own self-care non-negotiables.
I think I can speak for both of us, though, when I say that we're incredibly busy, Larson. Yeah. This YouTube business is no joke. Every week, our schedules are usually packed with Going in Raw stuff, family stuff, and that's not even including school, which hasn't even started yet because we got kids. We're not in school. Our kids are in school. When your schedule is so packed, it's easy to let your priorities slip, of course.
But when you feel like you have so little time for yourself, it makes things like therapy all the more important. Back in my mid-20s, I was dealing with severe anxiety, and therapy helped me get my life back on track, allowing me to learn the skills I needed to better cope with my anxiety and help me establish my self-care non-negotiables.
And if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. BetterHelp is completely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. All you got to do to get started is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
All right. So, like we mentioned at the head of the show, SmackDown's been pretty much running on fumes lately, spinning its wheels, whatever you want to call it. And this week, I don't know if it's because they were, half the crew was in. Oh, this was pre-taped. Okay, that's okay because they were in Japan, but then
last week, yeah.
But okay, yeah. Dude. Here's the thing. I don't imagine the go home's going to be much better. Usually these days the go homes are they're like just sort of commercials. Yeah. It's like, hey, by the way, SummerSlam's coming up tomorrow, so be sure to check that out. So I don't know if this Friday's
next week though, we got the tag title match. We're going to have the Bloodline. We're going to have Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga taking on DIY for those tag titles.
This coming Friday?
Yeah. The go home show, yeah. That's happening. Then we got a Cody and Solo face to face.
Okay. That's going to be boring.
Probably.
Okay, so let's talk about the tag titles first and foremost.
Sure.
Because probably, given that the Bloodline is the story, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga, Tongalo is too busy with a busted eye. He had the eye patch on. None of this yet for him. That'd be crazy. You show up, it's like, oh man, Tama Tonga, that's my dude. It's my brother. It's my tag team partner for years. One of the winningest tag teams.
One of the most highly decorated tag teams in New Japan history. Absolutely.
Right, absolutely. And then he shows up, and they're like, all right, here's the deal, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu.
Well, he botched a low blow, Steve.
He botched a low blow. He almost botched his actual debut when he was supposed to pull the ref out, and he couldn't figure out how to get out of under the mat.
He clubbed his own brother in the head trying to hit Kevin Owens in the front area.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Put your ones up for that.
I'll put my ones up for that. And so Jacob Fatu is like probably the most exciting guy to come into WWE in a little while. Ended up getting the win for Team Bloodline, Bad Bloodline. So now they have secured a number one contendership for the tag titles there on SmackDown.
WWE and I wonder if the story going into SummerSlam has already been established because Cody said as much during that interview promo thing last night. He is a man alone. Orton, Kevin Owens written off due to attacks at the hands of the Bloodline. And if Fatu and Tama Tonga beat DIY for those tag titles in the go-home show, then at that point it's going to feel like basically just not an obligation. What's the word I'm looking for? It's going to seem a formality, thank you, that Solo is going to walk out of SummerSlam as the champion. That is until the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Put your ones up for Roman Reigns, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Big time. New WrestleJuice video about Roman Reigns today.
What?
New WrestleJuice video about Roman Reigns today.
Go watch that.
Yeah. After this show.
Yeah. Don't stop watching this. Wait. Watch this, then that one.
Put it on watch
Roman Reigns costs Solo chance of winning World Championship. It seems like everything is like coalescing where it seems like an inevitability at this juncture. Mm-hmm. At least that's the way they're trying to frame it. That Solo walks out as champion. And if the Bloodline walk out of SmackDown next week with those tag titles, that's just one step closer to them getting all the gold back.
Okay, so let me ask you that. If the Bad Bloodline wins these tag titles on Friday, which, dude, I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't. I mean, the entire tag gauntlet seemed like, all right, we've decided on this route. I guess my question is, them winning this number one contendership, doesn't it kind of like the domino effect? Doesn't it kind of boost Solo's odds of walking out with the title a little bit?
No, I think it raises one's expectations if that's the case. But Roman Reigns comes, deprives Solo becoming champion, and kicks off that feud.
Solo is I noticed this today on Twitter, and it's the stupidest thing, but also maybe a little bit of insight. When you do the hashtag SummerSlam on Twitter,
I know it's Solo's.
His little
Solo's.
face pops up.
I know. They're trying. I think they're really trying to use this feud and this storyline to start establishing Solo as a main event guy. But the whole story about him taking over the Bloodline is he hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned the title of Tribal Chief.
But plenty of people who haven't really earned how in whatever way you want to, speak on that.
Yeah.
Plenty of people who are villains who took the shortcut.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Who haven't necessarily earned it still win the top prize.
Yeah, he's not winning here though.
Okay. Dude, I'm with you. This is a conversation. I don't want people to think I'm an idiot any more than they already do. But yeah, I don't know. It would be pretty shocking if he won this thing.
Yeah, it would. It's because it doesn't make sense for him to win it, Steve.
It would also kind of preclude Roman Reigns returning. Because that's the problem is like Roman returns, he's got a feud with Solo. Roman ain't winning that title now.
No.
So that's kind of like the big stopper for me. But then isn't it kind of weird if Solo's sitting there with no title and Jacob and Tama Tonga have the tag titles?
But think about it, that feeds into the tension of this bloodline then, potentially, where there's cracks. And that's where the interesting stuff happens. That's what we saw in the first iteration of Bloodline. In Judgment Day, it's the cracks that form because of ego and whatnot that makes these stories interesting. And SmackDown needs some interesting stories right now.
Let me ask you something.
They're kind of bereft of them at this juncture.
All right, one thing I noticed, one of the big differences between the good Bloodline along the way, and I say good, they were bad back then too, the original OG Bloodline.
But now good.
Now good. The OG Bloodline and the bad Bloodline. One of the biggest differences in presentation, and I think I understand why, but I'm wondering if trying to figure out how to crack it would have benefited SmackDown from being, prevented it from being as mid as it's kind of been. The OG Bloodline had all those awesome backstage segments.
Yeah.
Where you really get to learn the dynamic. People walking on eggshells around Roman. It was basically the central thesis of all this, but you'd also get so many moments that built character along the way.
Mm-hmm.
One of the complaints about the Bloodline, I think, or the majority of complaints, I think could be summed up with one thing. They're kind of one-dimensional. Yeah. Which on one hand, I understand because we're not supposed, they don't want to necessarily humanize them because they want the bad Bloodline to be seen as just vicious, one-minded thing. Like we have power on the mind and we will destroy anything that gets in our way. Mm-hmm. Whereas within the Bloodline, the original Bloodline, there was always, like you said, there was tension all along the way. Yeah. They weren't hired thugs. They were family.
Yep.
And so, but I do wonder if trying to add some dimension to these characters wouldn't be a terrible thing along the way. Well, I think that's one thing that's been missing that people want to see.
Oh, totally. And that's something that could spring up after Solo takes this L. I think they want to book him as this basically force of nature at this point, because then the odds seem stacked against Cody. Cody wins because Roman returns, and that's got to alter the dynamic within the bad bloodline. You would think they can't keep going as they have been. If Solo is like, "Hey, I'm tribal chief," well, you came up short against Cody. Where's the title you said you were going to win? Because we've always said the title is legitimacy when it comes to the title of tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
And to see Solo try to make the claim that he's still tribal chief without having the title, that's going to be tough. Especially someone like Jacob Fatu, who's destroying everybody in his path. What's going to stop him from laying out Solo? Anointing himself tribal chief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I do think, though, that once Roman comes back, it gives a lot of people, that's sort of the thesis of my video today, it gives everybody something to do. Mm-hmm. Because for too long, like, people just haven't really had much to do. They're all just sort of sitting around waiting for the A story to actually kick into gear. And I think that's one thing that Roman absolutely does, because then the dominoes fall. You get Jimmy coming back. You got, Jay over on the other brand somehow, some way getting roped into it. I know last week you and I talked about the possibility of Bad Bloodline having those tag titles. Jay and Sammy having the other tag titles, and somehow, some way, be it, if they bring back brand warfare, some way, shape, or form, hey, you got a little bit of symmetry there, and their paths could cross.
Exactly. Well, I guess we could jump into it, talk about anything else that pops up, because as a whole, it was just kind of meh episode of SmackDown. The show opens up with a recap of last week's show, and then Nick Aldis is standing outside his office. He's on the phone. He hangs up as Bad Bloodline walks in. So he says, "Gentlemen, sorry to inform you that due to your actions last week with Cody and Kevin Owens, you, Tonga Lois, suffered an eye injury. You're not cleared to compete, so it looks like you're going to have to forfeit your spot in this tag team gauntlet match." And Tama Tonga says, "What'd you say? We ain't forfeiting anything." So Solo steps in and says, "Hold on now. Appreciate your concern, but the Bloodline aren't forfeiting nothing. Tonga Loa here is part of the Bloodline, but so is this man." Jacob Fatu steps in. So in tonight's gauntlet match, the Bloodline will be represented by Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, if that's all right with you. And Aldis says, "That's fine." And then Solo tells Fatu to bring those titles back home.
Yep. Which they'll probably do. After that, we had an LA Knight promo.
Yeah.
He says, "Here we are making a pit stop before SummerSlam, and Santos can't seem to remember how many times he's gotten dropped on his head by this guy. Tonight, I'll be the professor. Class is in session, and we're going to teach Santos a little history. And at SummerSlam, I'm not going to teach Logan Paul any math, any English. I'm going to teach you how to get your keister stomped in by the megastar. Yeah. Then I'm heading over to the Golden Corral with my U.S. title. Yeah. And no matter what classroom you sit in, the curriculum's..." He dropped a classroom promo.
He did. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyways, with everybody saying, yeah.
Yeah. Then he had a match with Santos Escobar. LA Knight wins this one. He escapes Phantom Driver, hits a BFT to get the win, even though Logan tried to interfere. So after the match, Logan attacks LA Knight, but Knight ends up driving him into the corner, hits some stomps. Santos runs in and hits LA Knight with a jumping knee and helps Logan stomp on him a bunch, and then Logan hits LA Knight with the frog splash.
Mm-hmm.
So assuming there's no interaction between LA Knight and Logan Paul on the go home, maybe video package, looks like LA Knight's walking out with that U.S. title.
I feel like at worst we'll get a video package, and at best we'll get a pull apart brawl. I think this was the go home math right here. And I think LA Knight's going to walk away with that title.
Yeah.
After that, we had a Naomi interview. Byron, they replay like the Naomi Blair Davenport thing.
Yeah.
And Byron's like, "So why do you think Blair was nice to you and then attacked you?" And she's like, "Saxon, I don't know why she attacked me. I haven't even done anything to that newbie. She's clearly trying to play mind games with me, which aren't going to work. I got something for little Miss Blair. Not only am I going to make her feel the glow, I'm going to make her respect it." And then Bianca and Jade step in, and Jade's like, "Blair is a lame, and she's going to get exactly what's coming to her. She's a lame." And then Bianca says, "Just like Alba and Isla, but we got to go out and handle some business first." So Naomi's like, "All right, go handle your business." And then Jade and Bianca leave. They're going to go call them out. But first we had a Logan Paul interview in the hallway. Byron walks up, asks about the attack on LA Knight. Logan says, "That's a little appetizer, what I'm going to do at SummerSlam. A little taste. Let's call it the first course of a 3-course meal. And I'm going to whoop them. And guess what? At SummerSlam, Cleveland, it's where I'm from. My friends, my family, everybody I know and love is going to be there. I just got off the phone with Mr. Cleveland himself. He's got a surprise Logan Paul homecoming just for me." And Saxon is, "Hey, okay, so what's the surprise?" He's like, "No, I'm not going to tell you that. Silly question. Everybody watching, it's going to be legendary. LA Knight at SummerSlam, you're not just going to wrestle Logan Paul. You're going to wrestle the pride of Cleveland, the ultimate underdog, turned top dog. And brother, you ain't ready." Yeah, stupid catchphrase. And then he walks off.
Who is Mr. Cleveland?
New character, Bill Cleveland. The heater for Logan Paul. That's Hikuleu's character. Everybody thinks, it's going to be Bad Bloodline. No, Hikuleu is Bill Cleveland.
There we go. All right, There you go.
Yep.
So Jade and Bianca come to the ring to call out Isla, Dawn, and Alba Fire. So they make their entrances. They get some mics. Bianca says, "I love y'all. I'd love to stay out here all day, but I'm going to cut to the chase. Alba and Isla have been ghosting us ever since they got those titles at Clash. Now, they said they were going to be here at SmackDown. They said they were going to bring their titles. So where are they? Where are they?" And so Jade says they need to stop ducking and dodging and bring those belts so they can get these hands. So Alba and Isla's music hits, but they attack Jade and Bianca from behind. Bianca looks to hit Isla, with the KOD, and Isla slips out, escapes to the floor, but then Jade press slams Alba Fire onto her.
Yeah.
And apparently that tag title match is happening next week.
Wait, this week on SmackDown or?
Yeah, this week. Yeah,
okay.
Go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, boy. Yeah.
They're loading it up.
Yeah, that's probably going to have a wonk finish of some sort.
Could be.
I would think. Because they were also teasing, like, Blair was talking to... Did this make TV? The Blair talking to Isla and Alba?
Oh, I didn't see that.
That was a digital exclusive then. So they might do, like, the big three versus Blair and Isla and Alba.
Yeah,
but who knows when? Maybe they'll put it on the kickoff. Maybe they'll just do it the actual next week on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Anyways, we get a little recap of the Japan tour. And then we have the Street Profits warming up backstage as B-Fab hypes them up. Terrence Crawford shows up. Ford tells him, you can go do your thing. Crawford says, tonight, I'll be watching. And then we have Nia and Tiffany in the locker room. Tiffany is bummed out because she lifts up her taped-together briefcase that Bayley broke last week. Yeah. And then Nia's there. She says, don't worry. I'm going to get you a new perfect briefcase for you, and you can cash in on Bayley. But I wouldn't want you to cash in and then lose your title so soon because I still got my shot. And Tiffany's like, I never did that to you. All I want to do tonight is get my revenge on Bayley. So, yeah, it seems likely that SummerSlam's not going to be the thing, right, for Tiffany Stratton.
Unless this is all just, subterfuge and she's going to try to cash in, I don't know, like next week. The Friday before SummerSlam or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like they want to give this briefcase some time to sell, perhaps.
Exactly. I think that's that's more than likely the thing is they want to sell a lot of these custom briefcases that Tiffany's about to get.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had tag team gauntlet. 6 teams? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 teams. Started with Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin taking on Legado. Baron gets the win here for his team after he hits Angel with an End of Days. Next, they take on Crews and Baron. That is Street Profits. Street Profits get the win after the Sky High neck breaker combo, their finish. So then Street Profits take on Pretty Deadly. At this point, Pretty Deadly is just working over Montez's leg.
Yeah, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Go back to Crews and Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Give him a tag team name. Ooh. All right, I'll start off here. I'll just start off. We'll see if we can all right, collaborate.
Brainstorming session, totally, yeah.
What's Baron Corbin's catchphrase now?
Burn the ships.
Apollo Crews.
Okay. Cruise ships, yeah.
Like cruise ships.
Yeah.
Is there something there?
I don't know, because if you put that as burn the cruise ships, and I don't know.
Yeah, right. That's not a good name. That's really long.
No, it's not a good name.
I thought something would immediately just pop out, but nothing happened. Like, it seems like there's something there. Right?
Yeah, I know.
I know. It seems like there should be something there, but there's not.
Here, we got this full recap of some questions, so let it marinate in the mind. Maybe something will come to you.
Yeah, yeah.
So Ford, though, eventually gets a hot tag to Dawkins. He goes on a run. In the end, though, Street Profits hit the Super Blockbuster to get the win. Next, they got to take on the Good Brothers. Street Profits win this one as well. Dawkins rolls up Gallows to get the win, and then Street Profits got to take on Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu. Street Profits don't win this one. Finish saw Ford hit Fatu with a DDT, and Fatu basically no-sells it. Hits the pop-up Samoan drop, follows with the moonsault to get the W. They advance. They will take on DIY next week for those tag titles.
Right. Yeah. I think DIY had enough time with those tag titles.
3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks. Yeah, right. It's been. I was about to say 2. It's been a good couple weeks. That's all they need.
Yeah.
Good old transitionary run for depth it yourself. So after that, we had Waller and Theory going to the ring. Waller's like, hey, last week we would have beat Cody and Kevin Owens easy if it wasn't for Terrence Crawford. But instead of just saying it, we're going to do something about it, right? Theory's like, that's right. Little 120-pound Terrence Crawford. walking around backstage. You know what we're going to do? You know what you're going to do? You're going to come down. You're going to apologize to the greatest tag team in the world. That just leads to Austin Theory getting punched out by Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
And Waller ran away. So, you know.
After Waller said, if you keep stepping up to me, my dude Austin Theory is going to knock you out.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right.
Yeah. So he just set up Theory from the get.
The never-ending, like, fool me once, shame on me, right? Come on, Austin Theory.
I know.
Can't fool me again.
I know.
Nobody, by the way, in our chat, y'all get straight Fs. Because nobody's had a good way to a tag team for Apollo Crews, whose last name could be cruise liners, you know, or cruise ships. And then you got Baron Corbin burn the ships. There's got to be a name there. But
I think the most logical name we put together, and it wasn't good.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So I don't know what you're expecting.
They need something, though.
They do. I don't disagree. After that, we had a Cody Rhodes interview. He's talking about being on the live event tour in Japan.
Where was he in this? He did this like in a lounge somewhere.
He was in a lounge or a bar or something like that.
Yeah, empty bar. I closed out the bar to do this.
So he says, looking back, I'm reflecting on the greatest fight of my life, taking on Roman Reigns, finishing the story. He says, I was there surrounded by friends, family, the fan, the concrete hero. The bloodline was no more, so I thought, but this new doppelganger bloodline. Should have said wish.com bloodline, huh?
Timu.
Says they're running around feasting on anybody who stands in their way. Chaos reigns without a true lion to lead the pack. Because of that chaos, I sit here alone. My friends, my allies, destroyed, trying to fight by my side while I had to watch. I walk into SummerSlam, a man on an island. A man who has the deck stacked against me. Not him, me. A man who had to fight with every ounce of pride and energy that I have, but I also have to head into SummerSlam, the champ. I know I have to bring all my fire and passion to this fight because I owe the people. I owe it to the people to defend this title and not let it slip back into the hands of the bloodline. Solo was a dangerous man. He stepped up, declared himself new tribal chief. He has proven that he is ready to take on the mantle of responsibility, to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. I used to think that Solo wasn't ready, but now I'm not so sure. I need to look him in the eyes and see what kind of man he really is before he battle out main event of SummerSlam. I challenge you, Solo Sikoa, to meet me in the ring next week face to face, one-on-one, so I can look in your eyes and what do I see? Solo Sikoa is ready for me because in this moment of solitude, I know that I am. He's ready. He says, I want to know if Solo's ready because now I know I am. So,
my goodness, Cody, there's just a lot of talking in that lounge right there.
I know. It was a long way to say, hey, meet me in the ring next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have a face-off. I'm gonna stupidly go to the ring, knowing full well that your bloodline guys probably all jacked up on their tag title victory.
Yep. Completely out there in his lonesome,
just
waiting to get attacked and wrecked by the bloodline in advance of SummerSlam. Yep.
So I think that we have a winner for this tag team name contest, impromptu contest. Sure. There's no prize for it, but our good friendo Patrick Cheeseman here has a good idea. The Burning Seamen. Because Apollo Crews, like he's
cruise
a
ship,
sea man. It's out at sea.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Baron Corbin, a sea man, because he's like about to go. So the burning, because burn the ships, the Burning Seaman. Some hot seamen.
I suppose it's an option.
Oh, Emotes here. So getting back to it, hot seaman. That would be the name.
So we had an Andrade interview next. So Saxton asked him about his match with Melo last week and what's next for him. So Andrade says...
And then wait, I got more. Because Baron loves cooking meat, he gets Cruz off his probably very strict diet. They start eating a lot more. They become thick. So they become the hot, thick semen. Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
See, anyways, it's all just a funny euphemism for ejaculate.
We know what it is.
Okay, just making sure everybody knows. Making sure everybody knows.
Spell it out anymore.
Just talking. Yeah, it's just a double entendre.
It's not even like a terribly veiled one at that.
No, it's not direct. Subtle at all.
I don't even think this is double entendre. I think it's pretty clear. It's not even
right.
Anyways.
Just so everybody is clear.
Andrade says, I'm thinking I'm going to go after the U.S. title. So Carmelo steps in and says, you think because you beat me, this is over? This isn't over until I win. It's exactly my attitude when we play basketball. So Andrade says, no, we're done. You tried, Melo, and you missed. And Melo says, I missed? Let's talk about how the crowd didn't miss you over the last 2 years when you decided to leave. Let me put this in perspective for you. LeBron, the greatest of all time, even he has an off night now and then. Happens to the best of us. And Andrade laughs and says, you're not LeBron. You're more like Bronny.
Ouch. Poor Bronny. You know, man, y'all need to stop with the Bronny hate. This poor kid. Could you imagine the pressure? The pressure? Because, you know, from day one, as soon as he could handle a basketball, LeBron was like, I'm going to play with you, son, on the basketball court. And Bronny was like, I got to do that now? Now I got to be an elite basketball player, be in the NBA? Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know. So then Melo says, yeah, I am like Bronny because my time is now. You need to step aside. And Andrade says, all right, we'll have one more match. Offers his hand for Melo to shake it. And Melo says, that's all it's going to take, and he leaves. He does not shake Andrade's hand.
Nope. Kind of rude.
Then we had Mia Yim Bailey taking on Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Nia pinned the champion here in a tag match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After Tiffany blasts Bailey with a Money in the Bank briefcase. So Mia Yim gets laid out during her entrance. And so Bailey has to start the match by herself. And for good portions of this match, Mia Yim is just selling on the floor, selling her back. Eventually, she gets in the ring, does go on the run, hits a tornado DDT. Nia's looking for a Samoan drop on Mia. Bailey breaks it up. Then Tiffany blasts Bailey with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Nia hits Bailey with the Annihilator to get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then we had, so again, Nia with the go home there, because next week is probably just going to be
video package.
I mean, maybe they'll do something with Tiffany's briefcase if they're going to do that.
Yeah, that could be.
Then we had a Bloodline promo. Solo says, Cody, I will see you face to face next week. The same night my colleagues will bring the tag titles back to the Bloodline. The night before I bring the undisputed WWE title to the Bloodline at your expense. In one weekend, the Bloodline will handle family. He says, and if Roman Reigns has a problem with that, he knows where to find me. Yeah.
Roman's going to be at SummerSlam. Yeah,
he knows where to find him. SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
That's all it is. Yeah. In the back alley in that poster. We're having a back alley party.
There we go.
Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. Anyways.
Still need a good tag team name. Hey, before we answer questions, let's talk about the Friendo Club setup. I believe you mentioned earlier, we got the SummerSlam Predictions Challenge coming up here this upcoming weekend.
Jay Smooth putting that title up on the line at the
Jerry in the Bank has the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Ooh, Jerry in the Bank. Dude, how crazy is it? Maybe people should take a cue from Jerry in the Bank. Maybe you should have changed your online name to like Larson G1 so that you have a better chance at retaining, because he branded himself Jerry in the Bank and he won Money in the Bank.
Trust me, I thought about it.
That's crazy.
I know. It's like manifesting what you want.
Right.
I know.
Apparently, yeah.
If I don't win the G1 Predictions Challenge, I'm up towards the top of the leaderboard, so looking pretty good at this juncture. But if I don't win it next year, there's something to consider.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we're here to talk about Friendo Club setup. It's $5 a month. You hit the member join button on the YouTube here, youtube.com/Steven Larson. Steven Larson's WWE and AEW podcast going in Raw here.
Man, we gotta talk about that name of our show, by the way. Not going in Raw, I'm cool with that, but how it appears on YouTube, it's way too long.
It is much too long.
I was looking at the different YouTube videos today. I'm like, oh, wow, Wrestle Juice. Wow, that's quick. You know, Simon Miller just says Simon Miller. You know, Cultaholic just says Cultaholic.
Wrestle Talk, yeah.
We got this long sentence for a fucking name.
Wasn't we trying to make it searchable? So if you put WB Podcast in there, then our show would pop up. Wasn't that the idea?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why we do what we do. But I think it's time for a change.
Enough is enough, huh?
That's not the name of the show, no.
No, but enough. It's time for a change.
If that's what you're saying, yes.
Well, it's okay.
Enough is enough. Not the name of the show. What should we change it to? Just put Steven Larson?
Pro Wrestling Podcast. I mean, come on. That's like the most searchable thing. Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's good. I like it. Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Anyways, I'm getting off track. Also, patreon.com/Steven Larson. $5 a month gets you access to not only the predictions challenge, you get access to question threads. This goes for both Patreon and the YouTube. And then we got bonus content. FriendoCast 24 will probably
It's
come
happening. I'm doing it today.
All
we
right.
shot it a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
That. Yeah, it was a while ago.
No, don't tell them that.
A month ago.
That's happening today, and then you and I post SummerSlam. We're gonna sketch out a little bit of time. We're gonna do the new thing.
The new thing.
The new thing.
So if you are watching here on YouTube, whether live or VOD, if you could smash that like button. We like to get at least 200 likes by the time we're done with these live streams. It makes us feel good. It's good for the algorithm. It's good for the show. So please, we got over 400 people watching now live. Please, if you could, please smash that like button.
Please.
It takes less than a second. Just hit it. Just one time,
Boom,
or 3
boom,
times,
look
or
at
5
that.
times. It has to be an odd number of times. Otherwise, it turns into a dislike. Do an even number of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, thank you.
Jay
everybody.
Smooth here has been a member now for 11 months and just re-upped. Said, hoping to defend my title this weekend. Good luck to all the friendos.
Good luck to you.
Good luck to you, Jay Smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Anyways.
All right. This is a good question from CatDad7. What match do you think would be better if it wasn't predetermined?
What
Money in the
match
Bank.
would be? Oh, wow.
Or the Rumble? The Rumble would be awkward and weird and amazing if it wasn't scripted, predetermined.
Amazing is absolutely the right word. It would be outstanding if that was a shoot. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think, given that Dan Severn claimed that he wanted to...
Oh, he thought he could win a shoot Rumble.
He thought he could win a shoot Rumble. Do you agree with that? Who would actually win a shoot? Would the trope of big man gets eliminated by everybody? I think that'd be bullshit. I think that some of them big men might actually be able to win these things.
Because if it was a shoot Rumble, you could actually punch somebody.
You know what it would be? It would end up being like a Mr. Beast challenge where like everybody would just lay down. And then it's like you got to deadlift some people.
Yeah.
So then it's just like whoever leaves last.
Hugging that bottom rope.
It turns into like an endurance challenge.
Yeah.
Who can, go without food and water and, for the longest
it's like one of the
time.
head of household competitions on Big Brother.
Yeah, people would show up with diapers on.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just soil themselves instead of having
like
to
a
go.
36-hour Rumble.
Yeah, right. That's terrible. That's actually, now that we mention it, that sounds so horrible.
That'd be boring.
Yeah. Unless they instituted some stupid rule where it's like you can't be stationary. I don't know.
They do something so like you can't hold on to the ropes.
Yeah.
The bottom
electrified.
rope. Yeah, they electrify the bottom rope or something like that. Or the bottom two. Payday here says, let's say Roman's next 2 Mania matches are Rock and Rollins. Would his 4-year Mania run from 39 to 42 be better than Undertaker's from 25 to 28?
Oh, what a great question.
That is a good question.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a certainty that his next 2 Mania matches are Rock and Rollins. It could be Solo and then Rock after that.
Well, let's say that it is Rock Rollins. Those are the 2 big stories right there. Boy, yeah, dude, I think there is the potential for those matches are hard to beat though.
Yeah.
Those 4 matches are hard to beat.
I know.
They really are.
They are.
If
you throw in the tag match night 1 last year too.
There'd have to be some really epic storytelling going on.
Yeah.
Like some, oh my God, everybody's crying.
Yeah.
No, that level is end of an era was a hell of a way to finish that stuff off.
I know.
That's a tough task. That's a tough task.
That is a tall task. Kelmiko here says, who's a beloved wrestler you guys find underwhelming? Kelmiko says, for me, it's Finn.
Wow.
For me, it's Bret Hart.
Surprised you didn't say Phil.
I don't have a problem with Phil.
What's the question again?
Who is a beloved wrestler do you guys find underwhelming?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yours is Phil for sure.
Bret's good, but I mean, like, he's not. I don't consider him like on the GOAT level personally.
A beloved
Others do. That's cool.
wrestler that you find. You know what's funny? I was watching the main event for SummerSlam 2, 89.
Yeah.
And it was Zeus and Macho Man versus Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to watch Savage wrestle with 3 dudes who basically his top speed is like,
I know.
walking speed.
I know.
Because he was so fast back then.
He was.
I don't know why I bring that up. I'm just thinking of different wrestlers. Somebody who's beloved that you think is like, dude, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll push on that one for now.
Very well. John, sorry?
Maybe Mox.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably Mox.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of one note.
It is. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Get kind of the same thing a lot with that guy.
John talks a bit, says just got offered a full-time teaching job. Congratulations. Which wrestlers do you think would make for great or terrible students in the classroom?
Ironically, the Burning Sea Men would be both. I think Apollo would be a really, really good student. I think Baron would probably be a bit of trouble passing notes and stuff.
I feel like The Miz would be a terrible student.
Really?
Yeah.
In character, a terrible student. I could see that. Yeah, he'd be annoying. Yeah.
He'd always want to be the center of attention.
C Machine 25 says, if you only get to push one, who would you choose? Obafemi or Trick Williams?
Oof.
For me, it's Trick, because I think Trick could. If you got to do the morning talk show test. That guy could go on any talk show and like just his sheer personality will make people want to watch him.
I guess the argument for Oba is that it feels like in terms of in-ring work, he's further along than Trick, and he's still really good on the mic.
Ring work is overrated. Give me sheer charisma.
All right. Patrick Kennedy says, hope all is going well for you guys and the rest of the Friendo universe. Name a few wrestlers whose promos could improve with Raw being uncensored.
Wow. Whose promos could improve by being able to say shit?
So cursing. They can curse. Probably Phil. If Phil could curse.
Yeah.
Basically anybody. I feel like anybody would having the liberty to curse. You don't want to do it all the time.
Okay, whose promos have been ruined most by the censoring? Usually it's like Bloodline stuff. They're like, shut the fuck up or whatever, Well,
that's more the crowd, though, censoring the crowd, not the promos themselves.
Yeah, no, I get it. But if the idea is if the entire affair is uncensored.
Stop. Jorge has it. It's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. That whole match.
Yeah, let them go full New Japan.
Yeah, when that whole match at Wrestle Kingdom where they were cussing the whole time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's the answer. Thank you, Jorge.
John and Alistair voice says, if you guys were to have a beat up so-and-so gimmick, who would you beat up instead of John Cena? Instead of beat up John Cena, who would it be?
Just waiting for you to say it.
Well, Larson would be beat up CM Punk.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. That is not true. That
would be your thing. Yeah, for sure.
Beat up the Miz.
Let's go beat up the Miz. Let's go beat up Michael Mizanin. Forbes says, what is one wrestling entrance that you miss seeing or hope will come back? He says mine is Finn Balor, both his regular and demon entrance. Yeah, Finn Balor really had a cool entrance. I don't miss the demon though.
I want to see him atop Bad Luck Fale's shoulders again.
Yeah,
that's
highly underrated entrance. I agree.
Really was.
Michael Cole coming out to My Way or the Highway,
and then tripping.
Yes.
Nate Cruz.
Oh, dude, Jay Smooth has a good answer on the uncensored promo. Zelina Vega.
Oh yeah,
that's a good answer.
That is. Nate Cruz says, if you guys had to choose a unique hairstyle to have for a year that any wrestler has had from any point in history, whose would you choose?
If I could choose to have anybody's hair,
a unique hair style.
Okay, it would be that time Roman didn't put enough he
had fluffy hair.
He had fluffy hair. Looked amazing. He looked like one of them romance novel guys.
He did.
Yeah, it'd be that. You kidding me?
You want fluffy
Ladies
Roman
couldn't get
hair.
enough. I'd say, sorry, Lacey. I'm going to go on an excursion.
Gosh, who's someone who's had like unique hair? Like the easy answer would be like, all right, I'll do a mullet for a year. You know?
Yeah. Like who? Oh, let's go the opposite direction. Whose hair would you like?
I think the obvious answer would be a mullet.
Well, like Brooks Jensen right now.
Well, his hair is just a little unkempt.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
There's nothing even about it. It's just like plopped on there.
Yeah.
And yet it's still kind of balding. Yeah, it's a mess. It's an absolute disaster. Jack Perry's got really nice hair.
Oh, he's got a great head of hair. Jimmy Thomas says if Roman comes back a face, is there room for both him and Cody to be face of the company? Faces on the same show. Who should move to Raw? I'm telling you, Roman might go to Raw.
I think, yeah, because I think they kind of
cross-brand.
I think they kind of occupy different spaces, even if they're on. Well, Roman's going to come back. I think he's going to give Cody the endorsement. I think he's going to give him the Roman seal of approval. Yeah, I think he's going to do that shit.
Let's see here. Creamy beef tips.
Love it.
What wrestler would you like to see a TV show about done in the style of Young Rock?
Oh, wow. Wow, dude, and the style of Young Rock changes things a lot.
It does. Can you do a TV show called Old Rock? Or it's just The Rock Now?
Just Final Boss Rock Now. Yeah, that's great. Now. What a great idea.
But a sitcom.
But is it the same dude playing Young Rock? Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's good. Young Triple H.
All right.
Yeah, it was probably boring as hell. Young Shane O'Mac. Whatever happened to that Vince documentary? Were we supposed to get a Vince McMahon documentary?
The Netflix one, right?
Yeah, whatever happened to that?
Apparently, I think
are they just waiting for him to actually be locked up before they actually do the thing?
I don't know. Timor here says, with all the in the service of the saga talk in your recent top 10 vid, what going in Raw moments would you say were in service of the saga?
What going in Raw moments?
Yeah. I mean, Steve will probably say when he stole a Big Red, deprived me of my run with it.
Boy, I don't know. I think that's a great question. I'll say this. Out of all the videos on our channel, the ones that we made when we got laid off from Machinima, those were in service of the saga. Because, like, that was a real deal, and it helped, that became, Going in Raw became our main thing, within a year or two after that.
Yeah.
The SummerSlam punishment video where you two sweeted.
Yeah.
Everybody missed it. Yeah.
Luis here says, which one of you in your prime health would have been more likely to be a wrestler or join a wrestling school?
Me. Neither of us ever wanted to do that.
No.
I never wanted to do it. That being said, I think by virtue of the fact that I'm like a little bit more of the performer than you are, just in terms of like what I enjoy doing. Like I've done that. I did those short films, for the thing. So like, I think out of the two of us probably would have been me, but I never wanted to do that. And I never considered it.
No, I never considered it either. And there might've been a short window before I found out my neck was all messed up. That if, for whatever reason, things were a little different in my life, I might have considered it. But,
oh, really? Oh, maybe it's you then. Because I don't know if I've ever really.
I never have. I'm just saying if circumstances were slightly different in my life, maybe there was a point where I would have. I don't know.
Watching Zeus in that SummerSlam '89 match, I kind of feel like I could, Like I'm like, all right, listen, guys, here's the deal. I don't know if I could bump much more than, very slowly getting down on my back.
And no more than 2 times consecutively.
Right.
I will not be feeding at all for anybody's comeback.
I ain't feeding nothing.
You got any more questions, Steve?
Oh, yeah. Dave Matushek says, with MVP making his appearance known at Bloodsport yesterday, where do you think Lashley should show up if his exit is confirmed?
Well, let's keep that thought in mind because we're going to do another episode of the free agent game at some point soon on Friendo Club Wrestling. So let's hold off on that.
Yeah, I got to get you that footage.
Nikyle here says WWE had a team taking part in the Olympics besides wrestling, obviously. Who would you get to compete in some of these individual sports? Canoeing. It'd be Baron.
Oh, ships, yeah.
Yeah, canoe's a boat.
It's a boat.
Skateboarding. So it can't be Darby Allin because he's an AEW.
Oh, okay. Skateboarding. Who in the WWE skateboards? I don't know why I think this, but I feel like it'd be funny to watch Lexis King get on a skateboard.
There was one video package where Saul Ruka was doing things on a skateboard.
Hey, good point.
Saul Ruka.
Good point. All right.
Judo.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. Archery. Damian Priest. Come on.
That's an easy one. He's the archer of infamy.
Yeah, gymnastics would be Tiffany Stratton. She used to be a gymnast.
There you go.
And a lot of wrestlers in NXT, like Kalani Jordan, former gymnast.
Oh, Cora Jade, the skateboarder too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Let's see here.
I think that's everything I got for questions.
CKY Halo, who is a big fan of both the music of CKY and the video game Halo. I really love him to make a YouTube, like his YouTube channel is
just all that.
It's CKY. It's just Halo montages set to CKY music.
What's that one song?
Oh man, there's
the only one I know of CKY.
96 Quite Bitter Beings. Yeah, I think that's 96 Quite Bitter Beings.
That's the only song of theirs I know. It's a good riff.
No, you know what, man? They're one of my guilty pleasures. I was listening to them at the gym the other day. Let's see here. Anyways, his question is, I'm going to Raw on SummerSlam this week. What shirt should I wear when I meet Drew? Oh, a CM Punk shirt.
CM Punk shirt, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Riff Machine says, I've seen a lot of discussion regarding regarding who would team with Roman for the Bloodline versus Bad Bloodline feud. Do you think if Sammy helps Roman, it'll lead to a Kevin Owens or Orton heel turn because of it? Considering what they all went through during the good Bloodline run, I kind of think that would be their motivation.
It makes sense. It makes sense for Kevin Owens if Sammy were to align with good Bloodline.
That does make sense, yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. WrestleMess here with a super chat. What a great name for a channel, WrestleMess. Should have been us. I hope they don't waste Fatu in a tag team because of Tonga Loa's incompetence. Roman versus Fatu is bigger than Roman versus Solo. What a great super chat. Thank you.
I wouldn't worry about it. If Jacob Fatu is a champion, even a tag champion, within his first, month of being a WB, obviously they have high hopes for him.
So, here's
And Stealing isn't tag champion.
So this is what we've found. Given that Sammy and Jay, I think, have a decent chance of those tag titles, given that the Bad Bloodline have a good chance of their tag titles, given that we've seen Sammy and Kevin Owens with the tag titles, we've seen what happens to the Usos. These days, the tag titles are more explicitly a route to singles accolades. Even Waller and Theory, look at what they're headed to right now.
Or their story beats in a singles feud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So... yeah, Fatu getting the tag title more is like, oh, wow, Fatu is a champion in WWE, not he's a tag guy. So I think I have faith in that. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will.
Let's see here. Sort of talked about that. All right, I think we're good. Anyways.
All right.
That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. I'm going to put up, I think, later on today, the landing page for our SummerSlam watch-along and review, so keep an eye out for that.
Great idea.
And then our predictions are going to go up, I think, tomorrow afternoon for SummerSlam.
We'll shoot them tomorrow,
at the Friendo Club Wrestling channel, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.